And welcome to Around the Ozark Spotlight. Each week we uncover the stories behind the people and who live and work here in Southwest Missouri. Those individuals who, with an entrepreneurial spirit, work better with others to make their lives even better, or put pen to paper to write books about the stories and history of the Ozarks and its people. I'm your host, Scott Meier, and today we're going to explore the world of our friends to the south in Branson with the uh,
Yay!
with the pretty new director of communications for the city of Branson, Lisa Rao. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, you know what, Scott? Tomorrow marks 1 year for me here at the city of Branson.
Has it gone that fast?
Yes, and oh my gosh, we've done so much work in a year and I love it. Love this place, love Branson, love City Hall.
Well, let's back it up a little bit. Some people may be familiar with your past life,
Right.
and I don't want that to sound so mysterious, but you spent many years at Silver Dollar City.
Yeah, it's not very mysterious, Scott. In fact, I actually the Ozarks became my home a long time ago, back in the early '80s when I joined KYTV, and had a wonderful, but albeit brief, but impactful career there as an investigative reporter and part of that wonderful era of news at KY3. And then one day Peter Hershen called and said, if you'd like to join Silver Dollar City, the man who is retiring is the man who named the place Silver Dollar City, which of course is, for your listeners, remember, it's they used to give back change in silver dollars to create
Hmm.
word of mouth advertising. So kind of an exciting thing that I got to be the second director of publicity in the history of Silver Dollar City, and my run lasted 33 years.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, what a time. To learn what I learned from the best teachers, mentors, trainers, the Hershon brothers, to all of the people of just great creative abilities and just leadership abilities throughout not only Silver Dollar City, but the Hershon Family Entertainment, which, now
Sure.
is the largest family owned themed corporation in America.
It's crazy. And I've had a chance to meet Peter. What a good human. It's nice to,
Oh,
it's always nice to meet a lot of different people, and everybody's a little, different in their own little way. But what a good person. And I can see where the excitement comes from for you, having had him reach out and say, we want you to be part of our family.
oh, no question. In fact, both Peter and Jack have always treated me like, that sort of extra daughter. And I feel extraordinarily fortunate, blessed to have been and continue to be part of their families and part of the Silver Dollar
Sure.
City family. Thankfully, when you retire, you're still part of it all.
Yeah.
So rather than just leaving, I retired from there, allowing me to then be part of it all while picking up a new torch, a new thing for me to do. I say, Scott, I'm in my early 60s, going on 45. Um,
We
I
all
feel
are.
incredibly reinvigorated and
Yeah.
so excited about what I'm doing now, which is communications director at the city of Branson. And the city of Branson, Scott, is on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much good, so many good initiatives. The city itself, tourism side, which of course we can never say tourism aside in Branson, but City Hall as City Hall, City
Mhm.
Hall as business, efficient, effective, transparent, open business. And I am working for an extraordinary leader whose name is Kathy Stepp, and she hails from having run the Great Lakes entire division of the EPA.
Oh, really?
And yeah, she's really something. She was a state senator and from Wisconsin,
Hmm.
just tremendous accolades. And she brought with her chief of staff, who is an absolute amazing leader for me and trainer. And I love it. I continue to learn something new every day, working for great people who want to do great things for
Sure.
the city of Branson. And a couple initiatives I'll let you know. We've got like a red tape review over the many decades and lots of changing administrations in recent time. Branson got a little difficult for developers and whatnot to feel that they were being able to get that what they needed from the city. So we are
Sure.
doing a red tape review and really evaluating all ordinances, all codes, all ways of doing business.
Okay. Well, that's a handful. Let's hang on to that for just a minute because I want to go back a little bit and introduce our audience to who Lisa Rao is. You said you worked at KY3 for a while, but let's back up before that. Where are you from?
I'm from outside of Detroit in a
You
wonderful,
are where?
wonderful, yeah,
I lived in
Birmingham.
Detroit for 23 years. So,
Oh,
well,
well, I'm from, yeah, they say
Birmingham's
between,
hardly outside of Detroit. I mean, Birmingham kind of makes Detroit work, but
yes, yes, it is the land of the auto executive, isn't it?
yes,
Between 15 and 16 mile, and which is the way, of course, we all talk about Detroit,
sure.
that great historic, legendary Woodward Avenue.
Uh,
And I grew up there, and I also grew up for a couple of years. We moved to Los Angeles. My dad was a top creative person for Chevrolet worldwide. He was on the team to invent Heartbeat of America.
okay,
And yeah, we had an incredibly just pixie dust of an upbringing. And oddly, you ready for this? I
hmm.
came down to Missouri for college and met a man, married him, moved here. And as many of us have experienced in our lives, the marriage didn't work, but the career did.
Oh, that's great. So your dad worked for Campbell Ewald.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
all
which
right.
later became Lintus Campbell Ewald.
Well, as a
Yes.
just a quick aside, because it isn't about me, it's about you. But I used to call on Campbell Ewald when I was in the radio business in Detroit, and they would make any of us that didn't drive a General Motors product and certainly a Chevrolet product park in a whole nother part of the state if we
Boy,
brought a car.
listen,
And if we brought a foreign car, well, now you're 3 parking lots away from that
yes,
building.
I have Chevrolet in my blood. It
Yeah.
runs in my blood because my dad actually, Campbell Ewald had the account for many years,
Oh yeah.
and my dad actually came in at the tail end of baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
Sure.
And when he did pass, it was in the middle of Like a Rock
Wow.
with Bob Seger.
Did you get a chance to meet Bob?
Oh, of course, he actually, everyone in Michigan goes up north. And up north is where everybody is. And Seeger
Yeah.
lives up north, right up the road from my mother.
That's amazing. Lisa, I did
Yeah.
not know that about you. That's really fun. That's we actually have a summer place up in Traverse City. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
our side stories. So
Yes.
we can
And
get back to
you and
you.
it sounds like we need lunch.
Yes, I think we do. I do. So your time at Silver Dollar City is so different from your time on air in television. Did you go to University of Missouri, or were you at Missouri State, or were you at
Yeah.
SMS? I mean, back in the day.
I went to Stevens.
Stevens, where's that?
Stevens College, a women's college, right down the street from Mizzou. So we
Okay,
were at no loss for fun activities with the crowd from Mizzou, and
sure.
that's where I found my husband at that time. After living in Chicago for a while, I decided, boy, I sure miss that place that my former husband took me to called the Ozarks, and his mother had
Yeah.
taken me to Silver Dollar City.
It grows on you,
And
doesn't it, Lisa? This area. I mean, it just we've been here 8 years now, and even though we've got some grandkids back in the Detroit metro, personally, I love it here. I can't think of a better place to live.
you know what, absolutely, positively, just absolutely love it. But as you know, and we're kind of, deviating from your listeners, but when you live here, you get to live the vacation. When your family is in northern Michigan, you get to vacation the vacation. So I'm 100%, 360 days a year on vacation.
Oh my God. Well, that's great. That is so terrific. All right. So you moved on from your first marriage and you found your way down to the Ozarks. So you immediately came right to Springfield and started at KY3?
He was from down here.
Oh,
I
okay.
came, yeah, city girl, went to Dallas County.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? That
yeah,
was a different, that was
uh-huh.
different.
And his family being from, everyone was from Buffalo,
Mhm.
knew Joyce Reed. And you won't know Joyce Reed, but some of your listeners might. She was the first female news director in the Ozarks and the first female anchor. And
Wow.
Joyce hired me as a weather girl and continued to, propel me up until I was an anchor fill-in and an
Sure.
investigative reporter. So that aside, yes, Silver Dollar was an absolutely wonderful career. I'm so fortunate to have lived the years of dramatic growth with Hirsch and family.
Yeah.
And what's happening now in Branson, Scott, we've always seemed to reinvent ourselves when things start to slack off a little in Branson.
Mhm.
There's always another surge following, maybe a bit of a plateau, maybe a bit of leveling off. And the reality is, what Branson is becoming is truly a destination that the pie of those interested continues to grow and grow and grow. And the season is easily 10 out of 12 months now, and if not becoming year round, with the influence of the Hersham family, the influence of Johnny Morris, influence of the music shows.
Sure.
I think this, being part of your group, that we are this happened less than a year ago, last August, the vacation destination of the Kansas City Chiefs.
City Chiefs.
Yes, so that's been a blast. I mean, imagine that, Scott. At my age, I get to go from a big job to a bigger job, and then I get to be the champion for the Chiefs. I love it.
No, that's wild. We'll talk about that in the second half. I want to get into that whole thing because there's a lot of questions around that. What does that really, entail? And I think that's pretty exciting. To move into the position that I'm sorry.
Before we leave this segment, I don't want to leave it with I, me. I want to say that the reason we love, I believe, the Ozarks, and the reason I stayed, and the reason why we are so full of gratitude, it's the people, it's the culture,
Sure.
It's who and what we are, the essence of the people of the Ozark Mountains, and so many good people, and that therein lies part of the magic.
Lisa, I'll share with you when I first came to the market. My family hadn't moved down here yet. My wife hadn't moved down yet, and I was out to breakfast one morning, and just me, myself, and I, and a family came in. No phones. Everybody didn't have a phone in their hand. Sat down, held hands, said a prayer, and then ordered their breakfast. And, having lived in Michigan for 23 years, like we did, I don't think you'd see that scenario very often, if ever. And I was stunned here because it was so real. And I called my wife later that day and I said, honey, when you get down here, I really hope you can appreciate, because it was, it's a big move to move from a place like that to here. But I said, I hope you can appreciate that what you're going to find here are people that really do care about family, and they care about where they live, and there's not as much noise, and it just, people just like to live. And
yes,
it's really been a terrific thing. So I'm so happy that we have similar histories, but that we were able to bring those histories here and hopefully make the area even better.
And that transformation, as we say for second part, faith, family, flag, and fun.
Well, there you go. My guest today is Lisa Rao. Lisa is the, not so new director of communications now for the city of Branson. She's been in the position for about a year, but she's got so much history with Silver Dollar City. And when we come back, we're going to check on more of that with all of you. We'll be back in a moment on Around the Ozark Spotlight. I'm your host, Scott Meier.
Hey, everybody, it's Ethan and Sarah Forhetz from your favorite podcast, Around the Ozarks in 5. I'm sure you've been wondering, how can I get even more amazing stories, events, and witty banter to start my day?
Well, look no further. Here we are. Sign up for our daily newsletter. You'll have what's going on around the Ozarks right at your fingertips each weekday morning.
Yeah, just go to AroundTheOzarks.com, click on the newsletter tab to sign up.
Thanks for listening to Around the Ozarks in 5. We hope to see you in your inbox soon.
Welcome back to the second half of today's Around the Ozark Spotlight. I'm your host, Scott Meier. With me, Lisa Rao, the Director of Communications for the entire city of Branson, that's a huge area. When we first moved here and I made my first drive down to Branson, I wanted to see where certain things were. And I'd heard about, Johnny Morris, the mystique of Johnny Morris, and how much he's affected that whole area. I must tell you, I didn't realize the airport was about 8 miles from the main road to get to the airport. And it's a beautiful airport. If folks that are listening or viewing this have never been to the Branson airport, it's really quite a sight. But then the city of Branson, I find, is all split up. You've got West Branson, you've got different parts. Table Rock Lake is considered part of Branson?
There's a piece of Table Rock Lake in Branson. But
Okay.
The magic of down here is so much how we all work together. The community sees that stretching all the way from over the farther ends of Kimberling and even scooping up the Shell Knobs of the world and all of those wonderful lake communities and
Sure.
coming all the way, of course, over to the far side of Branson. There's a 2-county region, but and then down into the Ozarks of Arkansas is even part of the allure of the area and the outdoor beauty. But interestingly, as a city, we've got some 12 to 13,000 people population, but we have 10 to 11 million visitors a year.
Is
So
that
you
what it's up
have
to?
to, yeah,
Wow.
so you have to think to yourself, wow, City Hall, and as the city of Branson is hosting 10 to 11 million people a year with a resident population of 12,500. Now,
Mhm.
in each county, Stone and Taney, there's 30 to 40,000, whatever, in each county. But the reality is that tourism is the economic driver, the economic engine of this part of the world.
Sure. But along with that, look at the talent that's involved. I mean, Branson, when I first got to Branson and spent some time there and met some of the people that own some of the theaters and entertainment points, I really saw an old Nashville. I mean, if you go back to, I used to do a lot of business in Nashville 40 years ago, and it was this sleepy little quiet town that made a lot of music. And here you've got a place like Branson, far smaller than Nashville, but has probably as many entertainment venues as the city of Nashville does today. And it's just 40 minutes from Springfield.
Right. And there was a real time where there was competition. Nashville was worried about Branson. Now, since then,
Well, they should be.
interesting. Yeah, really. I mean, we had in the 90s, if anyone, I'll just touch on it, but, we had everyone from Mel Tillis to Johnny Cash to Andy Williams to Willie Nelson opening theaters. Wayne Newton
Sure.
even opened a theater. I mean, just crazy. Radio City Rockettes, and live entertainment, live music. And the shows are still very prominent with incredible shows. Some of the shows will just knock your socks off. And some of them are also multi-generational within the families. So whether you want the big, extravagant sight and sound theater in Christian-based, of course, or you want the Haygoods, who are stair-step fiddlers at one point back in their days of Silver Dollar City, and now are musician performers extraordinaire, or you want the Duttons, or, the Hugheses, all of these people who really give it their all in music shows. But then there are other pillars that it's hard to hold a candle to when it comes to all of it in one place. Not only the incredible outdoor beauty, 800 miles of prize-winning fishing and boating and enjoying multiple lakes, of course, most notable Table Rock, but Taney-Como, standing for Taney County, Missouri, full of trout. So the outdoor beauty and the outdoor fun, and then all the attractions, world-class. Silver Dollar City seriously is considered world-class entertainment. And then there's just stuff all over for you to do. And you can do lodging from campgrounds to camping along the lake in cabins, old style, or you can do the highest of the most incredible lodging with something that Johnny Morris provides. We have the Hiltons, we have the convention center, which
beautiful
is
convention center.
It's booked almost something like 85% of the year. Our convention center is booked. It's just incredible, the amount of people who want to experience Branson. And then, frankly, Scott, the amount of people who say, I want to live there one day.
Which is a whole nother part of Branson, is when you travel around the living areas outside of the proper city of Branson itself. My goodness, there's a lot of beautiful homes and condominium complexes, 55 plus communities. I mean,
absolutely.
There's a little bit of everything. Now, you mentioned some very important people to that area. What came first? Did the city of Branson come first, or did Johnny Morris come first, or did the Hershens come first? I mean, who decided, what, let's put a city there, let's call it Branson, Missouri, and then we'll go from there?
You're asking a history buff, by the way. I'm
Good.
a history buff.
Excellent.
Branson goes way, way back to the days of Rockaway Beach being along, you take a train down here, go to Rockaway Beach before the dams built up and created the cold waters of Taneycomo. Because, of
Sure.
course, the Taneycomo is the waters come from the lower waters of Table Rock Lake and continue on down to the next dam.
Mhm.
But what happened with Rockaway Beach, which was vibrant in the 50s into the 60s, is it became very cold very quickly. So there was this bathing resort type area
Mhm.
way back. And it becomes even before that with Harold Bell Wright and the Shepherd of the Hills, the real story of Shepherd of the Hills. But then as things progressed and the dam went in the late 50s was being built, about that same time, a couple of local families were fiddling the tunes of the hills. It was the Presleys and the Baldknobbers, names still here today. The
How long ago was
Presleys,
that? How long
that
ago
was
was that?
they all opened in just about 1960. So
Wow.
the
Okay.
Table Rock was finished. The Hershans were opening Silver Dollar City. The
Mhm.
Presleys were playing, and the Baldknobbers were playing along the Strip, or in some cases, like Baldknobbers in the caves. They played
Mhm.
in Marvel Cave at Silver Dollar City. And so between the Presleys and the Baldknobbers, there's a little bit of a who came first, but they both have always made an impact. So as that progressed, Branson continued to grow. And while we're all busy having our fun time in the 70s and into the 80s, well, Mr. Roy Clark came from Nashville.
Mhm.
And he said, wow. And next thing you know, there was Jim Stafford and Shoji Tabuchi, and the theater industry started growing up. And then, Johnny Morse's family goes way back, multi-generational. They were in these parts. And, all together, you started getting, even John Q. Hammond's, a name people in your listenership will remember, building the beautiful chateau on the lake. All of this was happening to continue to give Branson quite a growth pattern. But in 1991, I want to say, 60 Minutes said, what is this place in the hills, right? What's
Mhm.
going on there that even's got the attention of Nashville? And 60 Minutes, which was the biggest #1 show on CBS at the time,
Sure.
the biggest show in the nation at the time, they came in and did a story on Branson. And it was a big, long, 20-minute segment. It did great things, but it also hurt to some degree because it
Mhm.
was at a time when the infrastructure was not caught up yet to what was happening. So suddenly 60 Minutes airs, and overnight in like the winter, like around now, where we're not open and operating, zillions of people came to see Branson. So there were some perceptions that developed and were carried out that for a while Branson was only believed to be a place for country music
Sure.
and traffic. And we've been still to this day,
That's right.
a lot of young generational people will say, why do I want to go hear country music? Why do I want to go to? And the reality is, no, it is not just country music. And yes, we love our country music. But if you think you're too hip and cool, you go to the Haygood show. And
There you
they'll
go.
show you. So it's just been a wonderful transformation over the years. But it really wasn't until the recent history, maybe within the last 20 years or so, that the real advertising and commercial, lens was
Sure.
turned on the outdoor. And so outdoor is absolutely critical to the fact that here we are, you can come, you can be entertained any age, any,
Mhm.
grandkids to grandparents. And you can also shop your socks off. Our Tanger
Yeah.
is one of the largest producing Tangers in the nation. And it's full of wonderful shops and charming downtown Branson. And I cannot believe I've gotten this far without mentioning the Branson Landing. What a blast. Loaded with restaurants, fun stuff to do, entertaining, and shops. And
People
it's a
watching.
lifestyle.
I think
You've
that
been to Branson. You've been
sitting
to
at
the
oh,
Landing.
absolutely. You go down to the landing and people watch. I mean, there's people from all over the country. Now,
Right.
I've got two primary questions for you here. When did you have the epiphany that we have to have this thing going with the Kansas City Chiefs and be in partners? And also, when you look to the north, how important, so it's a two-part question, but how important is the city of Springfield and the surrounding area to the city of Branson? But let's talk about the Chiefs first, and you can pick up the other one later.
All right. the Chiefs, it was an idea that was floated around for a while among some of our leaders. Some of your listeners will also know Kirk Elmquist, who has a big hand in this. And we were presented by the Chiefs the fact that their president and some of the members of the family of the Hunts and some of the players were very much in awe of Branson. And they liked coming here. They liked vacationing here. And they said, would you consider being our official vacation destination? Now, anyone in tourism and advertising knows sometimes you have to, at least Peter Herschen taught me this, sometimes you have to take risks in order to see what you can do with them, right?
Sure.
But if you take a risk, you got to work with them. So interestingly, when we jumped off with $1.5 million with the split between different community entities, the city is a partner in this, with other tax supported entities. That the taxes are designed for marketing. Note that these are not taxes that should go to the roads or bridges. These are specific marketing, advertising taxes that the tourists very much contribute to. At that point, we said, let's give it a go. I mean, Chiefs Kingdom, 5 million crazy addicts of the loyal Chiefs fans.
Sure.
And our first year, I mean, Scott, let's be honest, we had nothing to compare this to. And we had a lot of change in transition and leadership in Branson. And right now, we are high flying. We've got a new president and CEO at the CVB. We've got my new boss, again, Kathy Stepp, City of Branson, City Administrator. We have a mayor and a council very engaged in growing tourism. And we have something called a Tourism Community Enhancement District.
And you also
All
have a team
combining.
you also are partnered with a team that's won back-to-back Super Bowls, which isn't a bad thing.
And the NFL's number one team in America.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's such a great story, and I'm so happy for you. And obviously, we're very involved at the radio stations with the Chiefs as well. And having met the Hunt family, they're really, really good people. Now, let's talk a little bit again about having 40 minutes to the north. You've got a city of really 250,000 people. If you take the whole retail area, now you're looking at 500,000 people. How much does Branson look upon the Springfield Metro as an important partner for them?
Well, first of all, the Ozarks has always been really good about wanting to work together. And there are people who are working together to ensure that for those areas and groups and conventions where it matters, we look at the Ozarks as a whole. Like, Springfield is definitely, we admire, respect, and want to work with Springfield. Of course, Springfield sports tourism is growing. Ours is growing leaps and bounds. The turf project of about $3 million will be opening May 1, which has already doubled our number of tournaments. And we are looking at a $36 million economic impact from turf alone. Springfield excels in sports tourism. So when you have the opportunity for the whole Southwest Missouri region to stand for an incredibly growing and dynamic industry of youth sports tourism, we really, really are fortunate to all of us be together, right? So Springfield, and not to mention the airport. I mean, it's literally, it is called the Springfield Branson National Airport.
Right.
And so Springfield and Branson are hand in hand. And while we're kind of like a little bit competitive cousins, you bet we are, but we're also extraordinarily respectful and of full knowledge the importance of the one and the other. I mean, we can claim wonderful things from Johnny Morris, but Johnny's a Springfieldian.
Sure.
And so right there is one great example. And yes, we are really hand in hand, and we hope Springfield feels the same way. And from those who we know, of course, your chamber and your CVB and leaders of Springfield, there's a realization that we're all in this together. We're just steeped a little bit more into the tourist as we know it.
Sure.
And Springfield is definitely a hub.
Lisa, we're about out of time. You want to tell the folks how best to get information about Branson and what's happening coming up this summer?
Yeah, if you really want to know good stuff, right? You're going to go to explorebranson.com, and that is our website for our partner, who is our CVB. We all do everything together. I know it's weird, but we do.
Mhm.
We're all together. We've been doing it this way since long, long, long ago when the Mary Trimble and Mary Hershend built Silver Dollar City and Shepherd of the Hills. We've always worked together. So explorebranson.com is an arm of our Convention and Visitors Bureau. It can help you plan your trip. There are also lots of other places you can Google and see some outreach. If you're interested in city business or in working for the city of Branson, which, by the way, we have recently absolutely almost closed the loop on full employment throughout Branson.
Excellent.
It's a great city to work with and for and be a part of. That our website is cityofbransonmo.gov, cityofbransonmo.gov.
I want to thank
lots
my
of good
guest
stuff.
today. Lisa, I want to thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be with me. I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're
And
delightful. You're delightful. And listen, I'll take you out to lunch. We'll talk about Michigan.
we'll do it. That's a date. I also want
Yeah.
to thank my producers, Taylor Worley and Jay Stevens, as well as all of you for joining us today. If you happen to miss
Okay.
any or part of today's program, you can find it in its entirety on aroundtheozarks.com website, Facebook, Instagram, and X, which used to be Twitter or whatever, and our new app for ATO, which can be found in the Apple App Store or the Android apps. I'm Scott Meier. Remember, every day is a gift. It's the greatest gift of all. Have a great day. Thanks, Lisa.